blog.com for everything Royal Caribbean, RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Happy Monday, everybody. Each and every Monday, we are live right here on YouTube, hanging out with you, answering your Royal Caribbean cruise questions. Thank you for joining us here, and we're going to answer as many cruise questions as possible, starting with the most important question. How many days until your next Royal Caribbean cruise? Type your countdown in chat. Let's count down together. My next cruise coming up in September. Well, it is for now anyway. On Independence of the Seas. Looking forward to getting back on indie little weekend cruise action. It's one of the nice benefits of living in Florida is that you can just hop on a cruise ship. We're actually not in Florida today. We're over in Lake Tahoe. We're actually on the Nevada side of Lake Tahoe. There's California. You can actually see California behind me. But anyway, I digress. We're here to answer your cruise questions. We did get a super chat before the stream began from Ed Vira. Ed, I didn't see your actual question, so if you want to type it in chat again, I can answer it for you once again. But glad to see everybody here. We're here to answer as many questions as I can, so please feel free to type your questions in chat, and we'll get to as many as humanly possible in the next hour over here. I see Don Goldstein in the chat. I see Alan Smith in the chat. Eek a Mouse. Mindy is here. Garrett is here. We've got Christine. Too Many Hobbies is here. A Dibble. Susan Westfall. Lots of our friends already checking in and saying hello. We have we got Smokey Bandit in the house. Matt showing off his background again. Listen, pretty soon we'll be back to the office and it'll be the normal boring background we always have. So I figured, why not something a little nicer than the usual, right? So that's my thought anyway. Isabella, thank you for the super chat, Isabella. I don't see a message from you, but I will keep an eye out for it. But thank you, Isabella, for your generosity. Michael S., one of my very good friends, thank you for the super chat. Matt, do you print luggage tags in color? Yes. I will print. Given the choice, if we have color ink, I will absolutely print them in color. There's not printing the luggage tags in black and white isn't a problem. I've done it many times in black and white. The luggage has found its way to my room. But if you got the color ink, you may as well use it. I know color ink costs more and all that stuff, but I would say, to answer your question as directly as I can, Michael, I definitely print luggage tags in color as my primary choice. Let's put it that way. Razor Ray and house looking very nice. I was like, dude, it is absolutely stunning here. It is 74 degrees right now. Sun is shining, not a cloud in the sky. It is absolutely fantastic. Silver Honda, looking forward to your very first cruise on Independence of the Seas, going to Coco Cay, Bahamas. Nice. It's one of the wonderful sailings that Royal Caribbean offers. Great way to spend your weekend or 4 days. I'm not sure if you're on the 3 or the 4-night one, but yeah. Let's see here. Garrett wants to know, what hotel do you recommend to stay in June of 24 for the group cruise leaving from Miami? There's a lot of great hotels in Miami. A couple that I recommend, and you can figure out which falls into your price category, Garrett. The Intercontinental Miami is by far the best one. It's right downtown. You can see the cruise ships from where the hotel is. Great service, great rooms. It's not cheap by any means, but the Intercontinental Miami is fantastic. Also, the Doubletree Biscayne Bay is very good, also downtown. Not as expensive as the Intercontinental, but pretty darn good. And if those are too pricey for you, then I would just defer to one of the hotels near the Miami International Airport, assuming you're flying into Miami. If you're flying into Fort Lauderdale, just stay at one of those. Just go to Priceline.com, pick a airport or hotel near the airport, 4 stars or higher. It's going to be fine for one night if you do 4 stars or higher. That's usually what I do right there. So, hello, Danette. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Which sailing in September are we on? Great question. I forgot. I think it's the end of the month? No. September 8th. September 8th. Little weekend sailing over there. So, let's see here. Robert wants to know, is it absolutely necessary to make reservations, especially restaurants, or can you walk in and wait for a seat? It's not absolutely necessary, but more often than not, especially restaurants are getting really booked up. It is pretty common for the specialty restaurants to get booked up to the point where they're sold out, especially on popular evenings like formal nights and whatnot. So I definitely recommend getting a reservation ahead of time. You certainly can walk up, especially if you're willing to eat very early or very late in the evening. But things like specialty restaurant, like things like Izumi Hibachi, definitely will sell out. Walk ups are quite rare, so it really depends on the restaurant. Wesley, thank you for the super chat. 3-night dining package. Once purchased, you pick 3 restaurants once you get on board. Is that correct? Yes, absolutely, Wesley. You got it. So with the dining package, whether it's the 3-night or the unlimited dining, when you get on board the ship, first of all, you can't make any reservations before. But when you get on board the ship, you can go and make reservations at that point. Easy peasy. And you can go to any specialty restaurant, Wesley, and they can book any other one. So let's say you want to eat at Chops, Giovanni's, and Hooked, right? You can go to any one of those restaurants, and they can book all the others for you. So you don't have to go to each single restaurant. You can just go to one, and they'll book the others for you right there. Let's see here. Eddie Maldonado. Eddie, thank you for the super chat. If I purchase the drink package, do I get a card or something to show that I purchased it? Good question. Yeah, so the answer is yes. It'll say on your card that you have the drink package, but also if and when they swipe the card, the crew member, they can also verify it over there. So when you get your drink package, if you pre-purchase before the cruise, it'll be printed on your card. If you buy it on board the ship, which is a mistake, by the way, and there's videos about why here on our channel, they'll put a sticker on your card right there. So, Ruby, if I'm leaving from Connecticut, if you live in Connecticut, leaving from New Jersey, do you think to stay in a hotel overnight? As someone who used to live in Connecticut, I would still do this, and the reason is, Ruby, you know as well as anybody, the traffic on 95, Merritt Parkway, Holland Tunnel, the New York Thruway, New Jersey Turnpike. I mean, probably won't be a problem, but I have seen where it is an absolute disaster. The last thing you want to be doing is sitting in traffic in the Cross Bronx Expressway thinking I could have just stayed at Holiday Inn Express and avoided this problem. So it's not, certainly people have made it work before, but I figure, and again, depending on where you are in Connecticut, because if you live in, Fairfield County versus, New London, it's quite a big difference. Anyway, I think it is worth it to go for at least the night before. Look for hotels near Newark Airport, not Newark the city, but Newark Airport. There's some good hotels there for one night. It's totally fine, and it takes so much stress off that next day, or the day of the cruise, rather. So, Isabella, thank you again for the super chat, and I apologize for missing your first message. Any advice for a last-minute booking? If you're doing a last-minute cruise, again, it depends on how last-minute we're talking about, but I would say a couple things. Number one, this almost goes without saying, do your online check-in immediately. Do all the things that I usually would tell you to do. You got plenty of time to do that. Do it as soon ASAP. Online check-in, book shore excursions, drink packages, dining packages, hotel, airfare. You've got to, again, depending on how last minute we're talking about, if it's a matter of weeks, I would definitely say you got to book those things like wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, as fast as possible, because it really makes a difference a day versus another day. So you want to get those things locked in, especially shore excursions, your check-in time, and any entertainment if that's still available for you. I think it's very important. So definitely clear everything off the cruise planner, do your online check-in, obviously your flights and travel to get to the cruise ship and back and forth would be good to do there. Again, it depends if we're talking like 30 days, 45 days, 12 days. Yeah. Next question, we got a super chat coming in from Lauren. Lauren, thank you for the super chat. How does the updated Giovanni Italian kitchen compare to the old Giovanni's table? Is it worth trying again if we didn't love the original? Yes. In fact, I would say, Lauren, the new one, in your exact scenario, it is absolutely worthwhile to go for the new one. I love the new one. I think it's a major upgrade over the old menu. I did like the old menu, but I think the new one it's a bigger menu, it's a wider selection of options. I really like the pizzas they offer with the new Giovanni's table. I think it's absolutely worth trying. Yeah, definitely give it a go, especially if you didn't like the old one. Let's see here. Hey, Ron Ladowski in the house. Autonomous. Thank you for the super chat. I don't see a message from you, but I will keep an eye on it. Mr. Carrie B. Carrie, how are you, buddy? Thank you for the super chat. Are the bunk beds in spacious staterooms large enough for an average sized adult or just big enough for children? The ones that I have ever been in and my kids have stayed in, I would say is definitely more for kids. I don't know that I've never tried fitting in them. I think I probably could, but it wouldn't be, I don't know how comfortable it would be, quite frankly. Again, I haven't tried it, Carrie, and I've stayed in a number of these types of cabins. We just did one actually when we were on Navigator of the Seas. They had these. I didn't get. I wish you'd asked me back then. I could have like hopped in there and seen what it was like. But yeah, they're definitely more kid focused than adult focused. I wouldn't. Let's put it this way, Carrie. If you and I were sharing a cabin, I would not necessarily want to. I would not necessarily want to share a cabin if that was my bed, off the bat. Let's see here. Next question. Lots of great questions here. Lauren, let's go again. Lauren, thank you for the super chat. Maya Chan or Jamie's port times only 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's a great question, Lauren. So Maya Chan and Jamie's Jamie's at Blue Reef are two of my favorite all-inclusives at Costa Maya. There's a really good argument for Jamie's because of the travel time to Maya Chan. Now, that being said, Lauren, when I went to Maya Chan last time, which was earlier this year, I forget exactly which cruise it was. Oh, it was on Mariner in April. I went to Maya Chan, and that was our times, and it stunk. But I got there ASAP, and they were ready for us. But it did think having to leave a little early. Listen, I love Maya Chan. It'll always be my first choice. But I understand exactly why you do Jamie's, which is fantastic, by the way. It's Jamie's at Blue Reef, is what Lauren's referring to. Neither of these through Royal Caribbean. You have to book it on your own. At least with Jamie's, much shorter travel time. The travel time to Maya Chan is probably about half an hour versus Jamie's is like 10 minutes or so. And that adds up, right? So you can make a very good argument for Jamie. So you know what? I love Maya Chan. I'll say Jamie's in that particular scenario. Brittany, thank you for the super chat. Can you book a reservation at a specialty restaurant without a dining package? For example, Chops Grill. Yes, absolutely. You can go to the Cruise Planner website and book it there. Can you book the reservation on the Royal Caribbean app? I think you can via the app, Brittany. I just think that for booking lots of things like dining, you can do it in the website. It's a lot easier, personally, but maybe that's because I'm a old school kind of guy. Anyway, yes, you absolutely can. When you book a if you don't have a dining package, you can book any specialty restaurant for the cover charge that's there. So when you go, you want to do Chops Grill, you pay whatever it is, $50, $40, depending on the ship per person. They'll bill you at that time, and then you're good to go. I have a quick story I'm going to share with all of you guys. So many years ago, we were on a cruise, and I think we were eating at Chops Grill, in fact. And we get there, we sit down at, we have a great meal. It's me and my wife, and we're sitting there at the meal. At the end of the meal, I get the bill delivered to us, at the end of the meal, and it was for $0.00. This is many years ago. And I thought to myself, I told my wife, I said, the bill is free. It's $0. Like, this is incredible. Like, you know what? It must be because somebody at Royal Caribbean recognizes that Royal Caribbean blog is so powerful and informative that our meal must have been comped because of that. Yep, that's it. And I felt like $1 million. And I'm like, yeah, feeling good. And then about 5 minutes later, I remembered, no, wait, I pre-booked it before the cruise, and that's why it was $0. So my ego went from here back down to here. Love it. Thank you, Brittany, for the super chat. Appreciate you very, very much. Silver Honda wants to know, is Nassau a safe port for things to do? We want to do Atlantis, or should we just stay on the ship? I think Nassau is plenty safe, certainly no more or less than any other Caribbean port. I think, though, that being said, it is one of the ports that I would always recommend you have a plan of action. And if you want to do Atlantis, just book it beforehand, have your excursion ready, and then you'll be good to go. It's just not the type of port that I think is conducive for, hey, let's just walk around and explore on our own. I think that's when you can run into some issues. But if what you're doing, totally fine right there. Let's see here. Next question. Hey, Cruise Boss, welcome. Michelle, we're in Lake Tahoe. Here, I'll actually show you. You can see the lake. There's the lake right there. But I would have that as my background, but then I'm going to look a little washed out there. I got to make sure. There we go. Perfect. Dennis, thank you for the super chat, buddy. 540 days to go. Suggestion for St. Thomas or at St. Mark for snorkeling excursions for over 70-year-olds. You're going to find Royal Caribbean excursions that offer those and third-party ones as well. For St. Thomas, what's the name of the beach? Is it Coki Beach? Like C-O-K-I, I believe is the name of it. There's a couple different. I would not recommend Megan's Bay for snorkeling. I don't think it's quite the best one out there. If you can do, actually, Dennis, if you can do any tour that goes to St. John, do that one. It's fantastic snorkeling. For St. Martin is not really known for snorkeling, so I don't know a specific beach or area. Maybe someone in our chat can give you a recommendation for that one right there. A Dibbles. Hey Matt, I know they have bingo on the ship. Can you explain how much it typically is and what is included with the price? It depends on the ship. Some of them have like there's various tiers you can get, right? The base tier is one card with, and you got to pay for a dauber, by the way, so bring a dauber. Then you can buy the one that comes with like 10 cards per game. And then on some ships, not all ships, they have an electronic version. You get a tablet, you put it down, and then you just fold your arms and it does it all for you, which isn't quite fun, but it does play like every single one for you. Anyway, it depends on the ship and the cost. It ain't cheap. A lot of people think, oh, bingo, that's an easy, low cost way to gamble. I mean, you buy those packs, man, and you get the dabber, you're in for it quite a bit. It ain't cheap, especially if you're trying to get one for you and your kids, and that, it adds up, but it's fun. Let's see here. Too Many Hobbies wants to know, what are cruise ships like during Christmas? If your cruise ship actually sails over the Christmas holiday, there's a lot of different activities during the cruise to celebrate Christmas on board. There'll be a Christmas tree, caroling, you can meet Santa Claus, special events held on board, like I remember there was like gift exchanges rather, I should say, and a variety of other, it depends on the ship, the exact offerings. Also in the main dining room, you'll have a special Christmas Day menu, which actually I think is pretty much the same menu as the Thanksgiving Day menu, but I digress. It is a special menu in addition to the regular menu that you usually would have. Anyway, so it's a nice celebration on board. I've done Christmas cruises before, and it's a nice way to celebrate the holidays. A lot of people like them as well. Sailor Cruiser wants to know, what are some free things to do with Coco Keys? We actually have a whole video here on our channel all about that, but essentially all the beaches, Oasis, all the beaches minus the Coco Beach Club, Oasis Lagoon, Splashaway Bay, Captain Jill's Galleon, all the food except for the Coco Beach Club and Captain Jack's. Obviously the bars are cost extra, just like they do on the ship. The excursions cost extra, the water park costs extra, the zip line costs extra, the helium balloon costs extra. That's basically but you can go to a number of the beaches. You can go to the Oasis Lagoon pool, all included right there. What is the best specialty restaurant on Mariner of the Seas? Oh, definitely Izumi Hibachi. Absolutely love that. D Rock, thank you for the super chat. 7 days till independence, honeymoon, and first cruise. You've been great and have been full of info over the past year. Thank you for everything. D Rock, thank you for the very kind words. I appreciate you. Thank you for your generosity. It means a lot. I'm so glad to hear that that's been helpful. That's the best compliment I can get. So just tells Mike Newell that I'm very helpful. Makes me feel better about myself. Let's see here. Next question is from Crystal. Thank you, Crystal, for the super chat. I'll be on Wonder of the Seas in November. On Embarkation Day, I want to avoid the Windjammer. What other restaurants do you recommend? Ooh, a great alternative is Park Cafe. So go to Central Park, and there's Park Cafe over there. They have sandwiches, they have soups, they have salads. It's far less crowded than the Windjammer, and it's complimentary as well. Great choice for you. If you're willing to pay extra, then I would recommend Giovanni's Italian table or kitchen, excuse me. That's wonderful. That's open for lunch on Embarkation Day. We actually did that the last time we were on Wonder, I believe. That's where we ate on Embarkation Day, or like one before. I don't know. One of those sailings we did that. It was a nice way to start the sailing. So yeah, Park Cafe if you want something complimentary, or Giovanni's if you're looking to pay a little extra for a meal over there. Let's see here. What's his name? Just Nish Shelton. Thank you for the super chat. How is parking in Bayonne for Oasis? Pretty easy. The biggest issue with parking in Bayonne in general, regardless if it's Oasis or any ship, is there's usually a backup when you get close to the terminal. So when you turn in from, I don't know what road that is, but you turn into the terminal, there's a long like service road that brings you to the cruise terminal, and there's usually a backup over there. It looks like it's the end of the world. It usually moves faster than you think. But once you get to the parking area, there's a parking garage and there's an overflow surface lot. Totally fine. Easy peasy. And I definitely recommend parking at the port in Bayonne. So just pack your patience when you get there. The line will move. And then once you're in there, you'll be good to go. Batman says, as someone who doesn't like big ships, what's it like on Royal Caribbean's older ships? Something the same size Carnival Spirit class. I'm not sure. I'll be honest with you. I don't know off the top of my head how big the Spirit class is, but certainly you're referring to maybe the Voyager class or the Radiance class ships. Those are great. Listen, they don't have all the bells and whistles, but they have gotten some upgrades over the years. I think really what you might want, depending on how I don't know how big the Spirit class is, but maybe like Mariner or Navigator of the Seas or Brilliance of the Seas would be good choices for you. Let's see here. Scott, thank you, my friend, for the super chat. I don't see a message from you, Scott, but I'll keep an eye out for it. And thank you for the super chat from Paulo. Are there any beaches you can walk to in the port of Royal Naval Dockyard? No. Royal Naval Dockyard in Bermuda is mostly a shopping area. There's no beaches that I don't even think it's all. There's no sand beaches or anything. It's all just a port area and some shopping and some restaurants. The good news though is you can take the bus. It's actually one of the few, if only, ports in the Western Hemisphere for cruising that I would say take public transportation over a taxi. You can take a taxi to go to a number of beaches. Horseshoe Bay is one of them. It's very cost effective. I don't know. I mean, it's cheap. It's still the bus. It's easy to do. Runs all the time. So I'd recommend that for you. You can't walk to it, unfortunately, but the bus is pretty inexpensive, and it picks up right at the Royal Dockyard. Let's see here. Let's see here. Oh, Nautical Hippo. Thank you for the super chat. When does Royal Caribbean start disembarkation times trying to plan transportation home? So this is a harder question than it sounds. It depends, and I caution you not to make anything that firm. The reason why is because there's a lot of factors that influence what time you can actually get off the ship. Number one, what time does your ship actually get back into port? Number two, when it does get into port, it has to be cleared by local authorities, right? So the Coast Guard in the United States has to clear it. In some cases, it's just like, no problem, you're good to go. Other times, they do very in-depth searches and inspections, and that can take a lot of time. More often than not, a majority of the time, it's a pretty quick procedure, and usually the disembarkation process begins as early as about 7:30 a.m., maybe a little earlier than that, 7:15, but it can really vary. And I've been on ships in which it's been a little more backed up. So you got to make sure whatever plans you make, especially if you're getting like a car service or something like that, you have some flexibility and they understand that here's the time I'm going to try to get off the ship. But I can't promise you that. And on top of that, of course, it's whether or not you're taking your luggage off the ship with you or not. There's a lot of factors involved. So if I were you, assuming you're not, well, I guess it doesn't matter. I would say, 8 o'clock is usually a good time. I mean, it's pretty rare that they wouldn't have started it by then, especially if you're taking your own luggage off the ship. 8 a.m. is usually a good bet right there. So Steve B says, don't catch you live often. Hello from Connecticut. But bad thing about live, I can't listen at 2x speed. But I'm glad you're here, Steve. That's the important thing. Always love our friends from Connecticut joining us here. Nerd, thank you for the super chat. 187 days till Wonder of the Seas. Love your videos. Thank you. Do kids need a drink package or to order drinks at the Social 100 Kids Club? I don't think so. They can have a drink package, but I think they can just charge their CPAS card just like they would, any other bar on board. So, yeah. Mr. Mania won $1,800 at bingo. Nice. Jim Bob says, we found the boring 10-card game is $49 for that. So there you go. Let's see here. Next question is from Cody. Hi, Matt. Sailing next week to Nassau. I was wondering if my driver's license and CPAS card are all I need to get back on the ship. Yeah, that's exactly all you need to get back on board. You're going to need ID, photo ID, and your CPAS card. That's it. Pretty easy. Let's see here. Next question is from Larry Watts, 60 days to go to Harmony. Nice, dude. That's great. James wants to know, are Bahamas sailings fairly calm around November? It's hard to make generalizations like that, James, because it's like me telling you wherever you live. I don't know where you live, James, but I'll say, hey, James, I'm going to come visit you in November. Let's say. November, is it going to rain? Well, you're going to say, well, it could, right? Maybe not. Same kind of thing. Again, technically November is still hurricane season, so there's a possibility of a storm. But it could not. There's no, just like anywhere in the Caribbean, you just can't predict it. This is a question. I'll expand your question because a lot of times people ask me, what's a good time of year to go on a cruise where you can basically expect calm seas? And the answer is there is no time of the year in which there's a guarantee of that, right? Um, there are times of the year maybe where there's less of a chance. As an example, if you don't go during hurricane season, there's a much better chance you're not going to run into a tropical storm. That doesn't mean, by the way, there still can't be a storm, not a tropical one, but just a storm and high waves. I've had pretty bad weather in February, and that's not hurricane season. So the bottom line is don't book a cruise based on what month of the year might or might not have better sea conditions. It's too general, it's too vague, it's too variable to make that kind of conclusion, if that makes sense. Next question is from Ben Blue wants to know, what do you know about the North Star and Quantum? I've heard it's out of service potentially until next dry dock. I'm not aware of that. If I know that, well, Jenna's inside. I don't know if she can hear me. Jenna, was the North Star working on Quantum? She says it was working on Quantum, and she was on Quantum a couple weeks ago. So send all your complaints to Jenna. Jeff Hansen with a holy moly, dude. Woo! Epic super chat. My dude, thank you. 12 days till the President's Cruise on Allure, been counting down forever. Congrats on no printer on the floor. Here we are. Jeff, dude, you did not have to do that. Thank you so much. That is far too generous. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wowie, wow. I don't know what to say that can possibly make that value up there, but thank you so much, my friend. I really, really appreciate it. That is very, very generous. Unexpected, but I'm grateful for it. Thank you. Enjoy the President's Cruise. I thought maybe I could have made it work, but my sister's getting married the day before the cruise leaves, and I would have to take like a red eye to get there. I thought about it, but it just, between the red eye and leaving my wife with the kids to fly back across the country, didn't think that was a really good idea. So, so thank you, Smokey. So the Spirit class is like the Radiance class. So going back to that question, Brilliance of the Seas, Serenade of the Seas is about the same. Isabella with another super chat. Thank you, Isabella. 19 days till Mariner. Sorry, I'm IT illiterate. No apologies needed. It's our honeymoon and I'm military, so our time is very limited. Grateful for all your advice. Isabella, thank you for your family's service. That is fantastic. Some of our writers, their husbands are in the military, and I know how the time when you're home is so important to have that, and how precious it is. So I hope that you'll have a great time on Mariner. I love Mariner of the Seas. I think you know that, but you're going to love it. Brittany with another super chat. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you so much for answering my question. Really helpful. You're very welcome. I'm going to Alaska next year in September on Ovation. So your education and information is so helpful. Thank you so much. Only 445 days to go. You're going to love Ovation of the Seas. Alaska is, there's just nothing like it. It's incredible. I did not go to Alaska this year. Lake Tahoe has to do. Actually, I went to Norway. Don't cry for me, Argentina. I did have I forgot I went to Norway, but Alaska's fantastic. Ovation's great. I'm sure, Brittany, you've already seen our YouTube video tour of Ovation of the Seas, available right here on our YouTube channel. But it's incredible. Alaska, guys, if you've not done Alaska before, you're going to hear people like me say it's incredible, it's amazing, and I remember hearing the same things before I ever did Alaska. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm sure it's wonderful. When you see it, then you will understand. Aha, that's what they were all talking about. Now I understand when they say it's incredible. Brittany or Jeff, sorry, Brittany. Jeff, thank you for the super chat. What are your top 5 on-ship experiences on Harmony? Tour of the engine room, tour of the bridge. Thanks for love your channel. I mean, certainly if you do behind the scenes tour, it's fantastic. I love the shows: Grease, the Broadway musical; Columbus, the musical; the ice skating show on Harmony. I forget the name of it. The Aqua Theater show is fantastic. All the shows, that's like 5 off the bat, and the backstage tour is fantastic. Autonomous, I think you had the super chat early. Do you need to add international calling plan if you bought the Boom Service Stream? No. In fact, don't waste your money. Do not buy the international calling plan. Here's what you do. What you do is when you get on board the ship, obviously your internet package, connect to Rokerman Wi-Fi. First, put your phone in airplane mode. Second, connect to the Voom package, to the internet. Third, at that point, if you have Wi-Fi calling on, then you can make phone calls as if you were using cellular. You can actually do this right now at home. Turn Wi-Fi calling on, put your phone in airplane mode, connect your home Wi-Fi, make a phone call. It's the same exact principle. And that, so yeah, the international calling plans are not necessary, and doesn't do you any good, quite frankly. Let's see here. Connor wants to know, can you give away a drink that you bought with your Diamond Drink voucher? Yes, in experience, in practice, every single time I've had no problems doing that. Sue Sista, thank you for the super chat. Do you think Royal Caribbean will add longer sailings for Utopia? Flying to the cruise port is not cost effective for a flight hotel for just 3 to 4 days. Well, there's a couple things, Sue Sista, right? And here's what Royal Caribbean, the answer is eventually yes, but not in the short term, obviously. What Royal Caribbean will tell you is a couple things. Number one, of course, if you do a 3-night and a 4-night cruise back to back, you have a 7-night cruise, right? I understand that the itinerary is not as exotic, but 2 times a perfect day ain't bad. Anyway, that's the first part. Number two, Royal Caribbean would say, Sue Sista, we hear you. You want a longer cruise. Icon of the Seas is doing 7-night cruises. That's the ship for you. And that's essentially what they're doing. They're positioned, Royal Caribbean is positioning Utopia and Icon to be the 1-2 punch to dominate the family cruise market, so that people like you, Sue Sista, who want a 7-night cruise, will go on Icon. And folks that want a 3-night cruise, because they're probably new to cruising, will pick Utopia. That's their game plan. So will they do longer sailings? I mean, eventually, yes. Every ship eventually moves around. I mean, that's an inevitability. It's a law of physics of cruising. But certainly nothing has been announced to that effect that you can certainly book or plan on at this point. But eventually, I'm sure the answer will be yes. Fanfic Rocks, it is good to see you here, my friend. Welcome back. Thank you for the super chat. Here's an interesting question. What day of the week is statistically the Royal Caribbean cruises start on? Oh, I don't know the answer. It's either Saturday or Sunday. I don't know which one is more than the other, but certainly Saturday or Sunday is one of those days. So thank you for the super chat. Jen wants to know, is Izumi worth paying the dining package for? Oh, I think so. I love Izumi. I think it's absolutely worth it. Yes. Let's see here. William says, Royal Caribbean and other lines need to spread Caribbean itineraries to keep return cruisers too. Well, if you've seen their bookings lately, they're not having any problem keeping return cruisers. I mean, people are booking cruises like hotcakes, dude. They're not having any problems filling cabins. So on that front, I don't know. I mean, long term, I mean, certainly there's only so many ports you can go to. Number one, I mean, the port, the city, the country has to develop a port. Number two, there's distance also plays a major factor, right? Why aren't there more cruises? They go to longer. Why aren't there longer cruises or different ports from Galveston? It's because distance. It's not logistically feasible for them to make it work. So they're certainly aware of that. They're not, they're going to be, they're not ignorant of that fact, but it's also the practicality of it. And on top of that, by the way, they're not having any problem selling cabins to return cruisers or new cruisers for that matter. So I understand your point. I'm just trying to point out the bigger picture there. John Grachowski, John, thank you for the super chat, buddy. We're on the Icon inaugural with you. What kinds of things should we expect? Definitely some things not working. It will not be 100%. I expect, John, not all these shows. I don't know this. I'm guessing. This is not like any inside info. I would expect not all the shows to be running. I might expect a venue or two not to be operational. Escape room is almost always like not ready on day one. Could be some work being done on board the ship, John. Maybe you walk in a hallway and you see a crew working on an area. It's hard to handicap that, especially when we're 6 months ahead of time. But that is the norm, generally speaking, for new ships when they first come out. So, yeah. Aaron Shepard says, are there any word on ships like Voyager getting the freestyle machines? Rumors are going around them about getting them. They're just that, Aaron. The rumors, I've not heard anything to that point. So, I don't have any inside info or anything beyond that to share. Steve, thank you for the super chat. What do we know so far about Hideaway Beach, and when should we expect more details? Good question. So it's going to be adults only, 16 and above. It's going to be complimentary. I mean, there'll be like pay areas in there, but there's no admission to get in there. And it will open either late December or early January 2020. So late December 23, early January 24. They haven't committed to a date yet, but we don't yet know, like, what does it look like? What's the layout? What features will there be? Royal Caribbean has not announced anything that. When will we know more? we're on a need to know basis at this point, and clearly we don't need to know it at this point. So, Alyssa says, "Hi Matt, I loved your video on how you rated included restaurants. Are you going to do a video on rating the restaurants that cost extra?" Yes, I intended to do that video immediately when we did the first video, but it's a much there's so many extra cost restaurants that I've been a little lazy with doing that. I got to just buckle down and do it. And Jenna, my YouTube video editor, who's sitting in the other room right there, I'm sure is shaking her fist at me as we speak. Let's see here. Maureen says, "All right, how do you book a room when one of the passengers hasn't been born yet, but will be more than 6 months old at sailing?" Good question. Put a fake person down, like put another person down. You can name swap pretty easily as long as one person on the original reservation remains there. So if you know you got like baby Pila coming, congratulations by the way. You could put down like your mom's name, put down your brother's name, put down your neighbor's name, and then when you know the name and the birthday and all that, just have your travel agent swap out the name. There'll be no charge for that. And Whipple, and thank you for the super chat. 76 days to allure. Will most ships have WoW bands eventually? I don't know, and I don't think so. I think Royal Caribbean, they've had a very much a Katy Perry approach to WoW bands, hot and cold. They sometimes it seems like they're on their way. I didn't think they were going to bring them back after the pandemic, and then they did, but they clearly don't want to expand them to other. I don't know. I really don't know, Anne, what to expect on that. I wish I could. It seems like one day they're ready to get rid of them, and the next day they keep them around again. So I'm not sure. Shane's got an interesting question here. There it is. Do you think that Roller will continue to do world cruise sailings if Serenades is successful? Yes. I do. I think that if it is successful, and by that primarily financially, I could see them still doing that. Yeah. I mean, world cruises get a lot of buzz, a lot of attention. They're popular with a lot of people who want that kind of a thing anyway, and Royal Caribbean has never offered it before. So I could certainly see that. Do you know anyone going on it? One reader emailed me, and I have his email waiting around. He claims he's going to be sharing some information about the World Cruise when he goes on board. But it sounds like an amazing cruise to go on. We're doing good on time, right? I'm going to drink a water. Keith Bruce. When I buy the dining package, does that include lunch on Embarkation Day? It does indeed. Sue Sista. Oh, it's So Sista. I've been saying your name wrong the whole time. I'm so sorry. So Sista. As in sewing machine. So Sister, not Sue Sister. Sorry. So Sister. I'm very bad at pronouncing names. There's a couple of people I've been butchering their names for years. And I feel bad about it, except for Tony Diaz. I didn't mind that one at all. Iona wants to know, is the internet package worth it even if I pay the daily cost? Is the connection strong enough? Royal Caribbean switched over to Starlink. It's been, in my experience, it's been hit or miss, but generally speaking, I think it is worth it. Now listen, I value highly being on the internet. And when it works, when we were on Navigator, it was better than any cell phone coverage I ever had. It was unbelievably good. But then we were on Wonder of the Seas last year in December, and it was absolutely terrible. So I've had very good and very bad experiences with it. But generally speaking, I do think it's worth the money. And to put that in perspective, when I go on cruises, I book internet packages, although not anymore, because now this is not a flex. I'm just saying that, like, to be in the spirit of transparency, I will not be buying any more internet packages for myself, because as a Pinnacle member now, that's one of the free, we get that for free, but otherwise I would be paying for it. Desiree, thank you for the super chat. Face screaming in fear. Well, I know I'm not the best looking man in the world, but thank you anyway. Justin, thank you for the super chat. Justin wants to know, what is the best Royal Caribbean restaurant of all time, and why is it Seaview Cafe? Brother, Seaview Cafe, man, that goes back a while in the Radiance class. I remember going on Jewel of the Seas and going to the Seaview Cafe. Yes, the Seaview Cafe was a complimentary deli restaurant on the Radiance class, where Izumi is located now, I think on all the ships. And you could get sandwiches, you could get soups, and it was complimentary. I do miss that quite a bit. I think if Royal Caribbean was going to add a new restaurant concept, I would love for it to be a sandwich shop, like a Jersey Mike's kind of thing. Oh, that would be fantastic. Dave O, my friend, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. Good to have you here. Thanks for saying hello. Let's see here. Oh, that's right. I forgot. So Don is referring to on Wonder on the inaugural. There was a oopsie. The sprinkler system went off. That's admittedly, a real like one-off kind of thing, but that did happen. I do remember that. Ed Vira, Ed, thank you for the super chat. Are tender boats on Navigator wheelchair accessible? Yes. My wife can't transfer, but would like to visit Catalina, which is a tender port. Yeah. Obviously, Ed, there will be not. I don't know that they all are, but they can definitely accommodate your wife. No problem at all. Thank you so much, Ed, for the super chat. Arthea, thank you for the super chat. Excursion suggestions for Alaska. We have if you go to royalcaribbeanblog.com/Alaska, royalcaribbeanblog.com/Alaska, you will find an assortment of recommendations and reviews of different tours and excursions you should book. Check that out there. It's our jumping off point for everything Alaska. royalcaribbeanblog.com/Alaska. And here's Dave's message from his super chat. Just want to say many thanks for your list of Royal Caribbean ships from newest to oldest. You made making decisions in my spreadsheet super easy. You flat out rock. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate the very, very kind words. Thank you, thank you, thank you. JP, thank you for the super chat. Hey, Matt, how old was the youngest of any of your children when you first took them on the cruise? 6 months. What was the best and worst part about taking them to that age? The best part of a 6-month-old is they're young enough that they're not talking. So it's kind of like luggage. Like you just bring them around with you, and like they're not old enough to be able to like move around on their like walk or crawl yet. I don't think they were crawling. So it's very easy to do things because they're just along for the ride. I mean, there's more bulk involved, right? That's the downside. The downside is all the stuff you got to bring: stroller, formula, wipes, diapers, outfits, bibs, pacifiers. I mean, it just adds so much more stuff you've got to bring. But at that age, it's super easy. When they get older and they can talk and they can walk, it's a little more difficult. But at that age, I think it's absolutely fantastic to bring them in. And we went, my daughter was like 6 months and like 5 days, which is like 6 months is the minimum. And we were on Freedom of the Seas with her. Asif says, hey, Matt, we need Royal Caribbean cruising in different ports, Royal Costa Maya, Cozumel too many times. I mean, I don't disagree with you, but people are still booking cruises and they're going there. I would love more variety, but I mean, there's only so much variety you can have. I mean, you got to remember, 7 nights is pretty much what Americans want for a Caribbean cruise. Like, more to the point, let me rephrase that. 7 nights a week is pretty much what Americans are willing to do for a vacation. Unlike Europeans who are willing to do like 2 weeks, a fortnight. Americans just don't really want that. 7 nights is pretty much the max of what they're willing to do. So longer cruises that would take you to other destinations are not really going to sell as well as a 7-night cruise. Beyond that, you have the logistics of getting to other places, right? Number one, if you're talking about Galveston, there aren't many other options in the vicinity that you can get to. If you draw a circle of distance, that would work. It's a game of logistics. It's a game of practical options, and also, quite frankly, as like all things in life, it comes down to money and what makes the most financial sense for them. So, as you know, let's see, if you and I cruise a lot, most people on a cruise ship do not cruise nearly as much as we do. So we're in the minority when it comes to, oh gosh, we've been to Cozumel like a dozen times. Most people going there, it's their first time going, so they don't see that as a problem. So something else to keep in mind. I do live in Florida. We're doing a little summer vacation with the kids, doing a little West Coast trip. So that's why we've been moving around here on the West Coast. Cape Cod Ken, what a great name. Can people in the same cabin have different embarkation times? Yes, that has happened, but it's irrelevant. If you're coming in together, if you're all joining together, whoever's the earliest time, that works. They don't really care who's just put the earliest time on top and you'll be fine because you're in the same cabin. Ruby wants to know, why use a travel agent? Doesn't it work better to book directly with Royal Caribbean? No. Oh man, I mean, we could spend a lot of time talking about why it actually does not work better to book directly with Royal Caribbean. First and foremost, price is exactly the same or cheaper if you use a travel agent. So this isn't like I can't think of an example. Something that where you buy direct from the manufacturer, it's cheaper. This is not one of those situations. Number two, the service they provide is fantastic and it makes it worthwhile. Number three, the pitfalls you can avoid, especially as a new cruiser, by booking with a travel agent is I literally could spend the next hour talking about all the things a travel agent can help you with. Things you can't anticipate knowing can be prevented by using a good travel agent. So I know it's weird because outside of cruising, nobody uses travel agents really. But in cruising, it's a major component because there's so many factors, so many aspects of the cruise. It's not like a flight where you're sorry, I'm booking a seat and I'm flying from this place to that place and that's it. And the experience is the same. There's different cabins, different itineraries, different needs. It's a very personalized experience. So it's not quite as clear cut. And quite frankly, I'm going to go one step further. And I will say it is a mistake to book your cruise directly with the cruise line. Use a good travel agent. Let's see here. Next question. What is the best Ensenada excursion? Actually, Don Goldstein, are you in the chat? I know you were earlier. Don went to a great winery, and he said it was very good, so I'll defer to wine. I would say there's probably two things most people end up doing in Ensenada. They either go into Ensenada, the city, and go to various bars and restaurants and have a drink and something to eat, or they go to the geyser that's there that begins with a B, La something. And that's usually pretty popular as well. Stanley, when I was on Wonder in May, Starlink was great. I'm so glad to hear that. And listen, when I was on Navigator 2-3 weeks ago now, it was fantastic. So, Matt, will you please start another Disney podcast? I think something that you want that. Number one, absolutely not. Number two, my wife will kill me if I do that. Number three, absolutely not. Sorry, Disney paved paradise and put up a parking lot and charged you extra for it. Lauren, thank you for the super chat, Lauren. Thank you for I don't see a message from you, but I will keep an eye out. Cullen, thank you for the super chat as well. Cullen wants to know, does the drink package ever go down to 50% off? The answer is it doesn't matter. You can just disregard that thing. And you're saying, what are you talking about, Matt? I'm not made of money. I want the best deal out there. I'm with you on that one. But listen, don't worry about it. My point is, if you want a drink package, book the drink package now, lock in the price. If there's a better deal tomorrow, next week, next year, you can always cancel and rebook, get the best possible price. But if you wait, Cullen, and you say, well, let me see if it does go down or not, the price can go up. And that way, then you're going to end up paying more. So do yourself a favor, book it now, lock it in, the price. And if there's a better price, because it goes down, cancel and rebook very easily on the website. By the way, no matter what the price is online, it will always be cheaper than booking it on board the ship. Masato, thank you for the super chat. Good seeing you. Do you like the infinite balconies? I've never stayed in one. We're actually doing one on Celebrity Apex in November. So ask me in November for my thoughts on that. And I think Lauren Perry, I'm still keeping an eye out for your message here because I saw that you had one there. I know sometimes it gets a little, yeah. What is my favorite personal class of ship? I definitely say the Oasis class. I like the Voyager class as well, but probably Oasis class. Ace wants to know, going on Oasis in October, how easy is it to tell something is complimentary versus extra charge? Pretty easy off the bat. In the app, in the cruise compass, it indicates that it's an extra charge place. Obviously, when you get there and you see there's a dollar sign next to the, oh, that costs money. It's pretty straightforward that you'll know that. I think you'll have no problem at all identifying that. It's not like, I really can't imagine you'd really sit down at a restaurant and be like, oh, by the way, this costs extra. I mean, they don't say, by the way, welcome to Chops Grill, this costs extra. But, I think you'll know that if it's not the main dining room and it's a sit-down experience, it probably does cost extra there. But again, the Royal Caribbean app and the Cruise Compass both indicate whether or not it costs extra or not. Ace, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. I don't see a message from you there, but I'll keep an eye out for it. Carl, no, Jenna, who was on Quantum a couple of weeks ago, said it was working. When she was on there. So, Carrie B, thank you for the super chat again. Will Royal Caribbean ever invest in food options lobby to become similar to Coco? Yes, in the sense that they still claim to have plans to do a perfect day at Labadee type of thing. That was something they announced way back before the pandemic. But they still claim it's still on the book, still the plan. The answer is yes, but when? No clue, my friend. No clue. Thank you again for the super chat. Let's see here. Elizabeth B wants to know, what are the things to bring? Ooh. Sunscreen. Do not bring towels. You don't need towels at all. That's a mistake. They provide towels. They provide bath towels. They provide towels to take off the ship. Towels at the pool. Don't worry about that. Drinks. You can. I think you don't need it. I mean, I get it that other way. Listen, if you're not have a drink package and you bring a case of soda, that's free soda you can enjoy. I get that. I think it's more of a hassle to bring it, but sunscreen, your ID, cash, credit card, sunglasses, camera, like a good backpack, like a small one that you can bring into port with you. We have a whole packing list over at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. If you go there, if you just search for, just Google Royal Caribbean Blog packing list, you'll find our printable packing list, by the way. AD, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. I think I saw your message earlier. Hold on, AD. There it is. Our upcoming cruise will be our first at Diamond level. How do we use our drink vouchers? You just basically tell, there's nothing printable. You just order a drink. You say, by the way, I like to use my Diamond drink for that. That's it. Easy peasy. Let's see here. Next question. Carla wants to know, do you have to make reservations to see the shows? If so, when? If you're out, you don't have to, but if you're out on a Oasis or Quantum class ship, you can make reservations up to 30 days beforehand. But you can still get into the shows without a reservation. On other ships in the fleet, there is no option to make reservations because you don't need it. Ronnie, thank you for the super chat. Which ships have you have bumper cars? The Quantum class. So Quantum, Anthem, Ovation, Spectrum, Odyssey. I don't think I missed any. Wait. Quantum, Anthem, Ovation, Spectrum, Odyssey. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to drink a water, get our next question. Ooh, Steve F., thank you for the super chat. Matt, I appreciate you adding coverage of Celebrity to the Royal Caribbean blog. When do you think you'll take a cruise on them? November. I have a cruise on Celebrity Apex over Thanksgiving. So we'll have a full rundown. I probably will bring back a live blog for that one because it's kind of new for me and obviously some other people as well. So yeah, Celebrity Apex in November, and then I think maybe we'll get on Celebrity Ascent as well, hopefully. By the way, going back to Ensenada, here is the recommendation from Don: the Vineyard and Golf Cart in Ensenada. So there you go. I think that's the name of the excursion or something. Let's see here. Ricky Roberts, thank you for the super chat, buddy. Thank you. And Brett S. Brett, thank you for the super chat. Nice meeting you on Navigator. What do you recommend to do in Aruba and Curacao? Nice meeting you as well, Brett. In Aruba, Palm Beach or Eagle Beach, Curacao, I'd walk downtown, have lunch downtown, and then go to take a taxi to Mambo Beach, Mambo. Modern Myth says, didn't you go on a West Coast cruise? Yes. We went on Navigator of the Seas a couple weeks ago out of LA, 7 nights. Highs and lows, great itinerary. If you do the 7-night itinerary, it's fantastic. The 3 and 4 night itinerary is pretty lame, but the 7-night one is fantastic. It was very hot. I don't recommend going in June. Wait until like October through April. Much more comfortable over there. Let's see here. Dennis, my travel agent won't help me with a comped cruise because she doesn't get a commission. Some travel agents won't do that because of that exact reason. You can understand maybe why that's the case. But listen, if you're getting a free cruise, buddy, you're still coming out ahead no matter what happens right there. But I know some other travel, depending on how you get the comped cruise, other travel agents may help you with that. I know MEI Travel does help with some of the casino rates that are out there. Let's see. We have a couple more minutes to go, and then I got to head on out of here because my kids want to go eat dinner. Sherry wants to know, where do you find information if the tender bus are wheelchair accessible? I would recommend going to guest services before you go down there, and you can coordinate with them. But I know they can accommodate you. It's just a matter of, I don't know if like every single tender can do it or just some, but go to guest services and they can definitely help you out with that. Kevin O'Donnell. Kevin, thank you for the super chat. Thank you. I don't see a message from you, but thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Dave wants to know, can you upload cash on your CPass card? Yeah, you can go to guest services and you can deposit money. I've done this before, David, where like I'll charge something on my CPass card and I'm like, you know what? I got some cash in the room. Let me go deposit that and like offset it. And you can definitely do that. So no problem at all. And you can do it the other way around. You go put the money down first and then use it. One of my favorite tricks before the drink package, one of my favorite little tricks was, take like whatever, $500, go on day one, deposit it at guest services, and then basically you have your own drink package, a little cash bar, if you will, that you can use to guard against it. So yeah. AD says, looking forward to sailing on Quantum, just bummed they don't have playmakers. Yeah, dude, when I was on Anthem in May, that was my same conclusion. Like, great ship, loved it, really missed playmakers. Let's see. Next question is from Social Studies Dude. Thank you for the super chat. We're going on a Wonder this season in October with our 12-year-old. Are there enough older activities in the kids club to keep interested? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You won't see your kid. Definitely. Todd, the vlogging guy. Does the largest ship Icon will be in Miami? Yes, correct. Icon of the Seas will be sailing out of Miami beginning in January. Jen, what excursions do you recommend in Costa Maya? Maya Chan or Jamie's at Blue Reef. Both are not through Royal Caribbean. You have to book them on your own. So just Google Maya Chan or Jamie's at Blue Reef. Hawker Tech, thank you for the super chat. Just got off Ovation, Alaska. A little disappointed didn't sail Inside Passage. Need to be on Radiance. I mean, the nature of the Inside Passage, especially, you know, well, I'm not sure if you're talking about the path or like you weren't able to see the glacier. Because initially I thought you maybe meant the glacier there. But listen, there's pros and cons to taking a bigger ship or a smaller ship in Alaska. You know, the nice thing about the Radiance class is you get a little more variety in the itineraries. But of course, you got to go out in Vancouver, so it's easier and cheaper to fly out of Seattle, especially if you're an American. So there's pros and cons. There's more to do on board the Quantum class ships versus the Radiance class. You know, you can hem and haw about it both ways. There's definitely advantages to either. Kimberly, down south, thank you for the super chat. Is there a benefit to booking a cruise while on board? Yes, you get extra onboard credit and reduced deposit. Steve wants to know, do I think Royal Caribbean will increase gratuities soon like Celebrity did? You know, it's interesting. I thought about this a lot over the weekend because Celebrity announced last week that they're going to increase gratuities beginning tomorrow. But when Celebrity did it last time in October, Royal did it on the same day, and we're still like a week since then. Nothing's been. So who knows? I don't know the answer, Steve. But it's curious that only Celebrity announced it, and there wasn't a Royal announcement. It's been more than like a week now. So I don't know. It's a good question. Ed Vira again with a super chat. What a legend. Ed, thank you. Going on Harmony in May of 24. Really want to try support before they get rid of it. Is Harmony due for a dry dock before May 24? I got to be honest with you, Ed. I don't know off the top of my head which ships are due for dry docks when. But I think the plan was for them to wait for an amplification to do that. Because Allure had it. Don't forget, Allure this is went in for a dry dock, not an amplification. And they didn't get rid of Sabor then. So there's good reason to believe that will still be the case with Harmony. I don't know that for a fact, but that's how I'm leaning there. Tony Diaz, thank you, my friend. 104 days till the Serenade group cruise. Brother, I can't wait for that one as well. Not just because it won't be 100 degrees anymore, but because I'll be out of Florida, but because it's going to be an awesome itinerary. Canada, New England, first time doing that. Love it. All right, time for one more question over here. And it is coming from Sierra, who wants to know any excursions or activity recommendations in Phillipsburg and or Charlotte Amalie with 15-month-old at the time of Icon, sailing on Icon in 2024. So St. Martin, man, there used to be an awesome beach. I don't know. I don't think they ever reopened it because they had it was called Le Galion, Galion. And it was this great beach. Both my kids went there when they were young. It's a little cove, and but there was no waves, which is great for kids who can't swim. It's like basically a pool. But there was a hurricane back in 2018, and that got knocked out. And I don't think it ever reopened. What would I do in St. Martin with a young kid? I mean, obviously other beaches are fine, and there's many of them. I just can't give you a good hey, that's a really good idea. For Charlotte Amalie, obviously another Megan's Bay is great for kids as well. I'm a big fan of that. You can also do a bus tour. There's many different tours that take you around the island, see Drake's Seat and Mountaintop and a couple other places. Actually a really good one is in Havensight so if you go in St. Thomas, you go to the east side of the island. There's in Havensight. There's I forget the name of it, but there's a it's not a gondola. I guess it's a gondola. It takes you up to the top of the mountain. It's pretty easy for kids and adults alike. That might be a fun one to do right there. So hope that helped you out. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to everybody for checking us out here on YouTube today. We had a great time. Lots of great supporters. Thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing with your support. Thank you. Next week we'll be live again somewhere else on western half of the United States. Not here, but thank you so much for joining us here. We're live each and every Monday here on YouTube. When we're not live, or over at RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. Until then, guys, have a great rest of your week. Enjoy. Stay safe out there. Do something fun. That's important as well. We'll talk again very soon right here on YouTube. Everybody.